Do-hyuk stepped cautiously into the gaping maw of the cave, his heart pounding a heavy rhythm against his ribs. The darkness seemed to swallow him whole, each step echoing in the vast emptiness. The air hung thick and damp, a stark contrast to the scorching heat of the desert outside. It was as if he had entered another world, one where time stood still and the air was heavy with secrets. He navigated the uneven terrain, his senses on high alert. Every rock and crevice seemed to whisper warnings, urging him to turn back. But he pressed on, driven by an unexplainable force. An unsettling silence pressed against him, broken only by the sound of dripping water. Each drop echoed like a heartbeat, a reminder of the life that once thrived in this desolate place. Then he heard it, a voice, raspy and weak, echoing from the depths of the cave. It was faint at first, almost indistinguishable from the natural sounds of the cave, but it grew clearer with each step. Driven by a mixture of fear and curiosity, Do-hyuk pushed forward. The voice seemed to call to him, pulling him deeper into the unknown. The voice grew louder, guiding him deeper into the heart of the darkness. It was as if the cave itself was alive, breathing and speaking through the voice. It spoke of sacrifice, of a choice that had to be made. The words were cryptic, filled with a sense of urgency and despair. Each word was laced with a raw, desperate plea that sent shivers down Do-hyuk's spine. He could feel the weight of the voice's sorrow and desperation, as if it was a tangible force pressing against him. He gripped his weapon tighter, his every instinct screaming at him to turn back. The cave seemed to close in around him, the walls pressing closer with each step. But something, perhaps a morbid sense of duty, compelled him onward. He couldn't shake the feeling that he was meant to be here, that this moment was a part of his destiny. He had to see the face behind the voice. The need to understand, to find the source of the sorrowful plea, drove him forward.
Emerging into a cavern, dimly lit by a shaft of sunlight from a hole above, he felt a momentary sense of relief. The light was a beacon of hope in the oppressive darkness. Do-hyuk finally saw the source of the voice. It was a sight that would be etched into his memory forever. A figure, gaunt and barely clinging to life, was propped against the cave wall. The man's frail body seemed to merge with the shadows, making him almost ghost-like. The man's eyes, though sunken and filled with a weary resignation, sparked with a flicker of hope as he saw Do-hyuk. It was a look that spoke of countless stories, of pain and suffering, but also of an unyielding will to survive. Joe Mingu. The name escaped the man's lips like a dry, rustling leaf in the wind. His voice was a mere whisper, each word a painful struggle to articulate, as if it hurt to speak. Do-hyuk stared at the man, taking in his gaunt and frail appearance. He was a harrowing sight, his skin stretched taut over his bones, his clothes tattered and stained with dirt. A long, unkempt beard did little to hide the sharp angles of his face, a testament to the toll starvation had taken on him. Do-hyuk, still wary, kept his distance, unsure of the man's intentions. He studied the man, searching for any sign of aggression or hidden danger. But Mingu seemed too weak to even lift a finger, let alone pose any real threat. His chest rose and fell in shallow breaths, each one a small victory against the inevitable end. Despite his emaciated state, an air of quiet dignity clung to him, a spark of defiance in his sunken eyes.
Who are you? What happened to you? Tell me everything.
Out there, the green beings, they took everything from us.
His words were fragmented, disjointed, but they painted a vivid picture, a gruesome tapestry of survival and loss, etched into the desolate landscape. Mingu's tale unfolded slowly, punctuated by pained breaths and long silences. Each word seemed to carry the weight of 1,000 sorrows, each pause a testament to the depth of his grief. He spoke of his daughter, his voice thick with emotion as he described her infectious laughter and her unwavering spirit. Her smile had the power to light up the darkest of days, and her courage was unmatched. She had been his world, his reason for living. Every moment with her was a cherished memory, a precious gift that he held close to his heart. Then the green beings came. They were unlike anything he had ever seen, monstrous and terrifying. They descended upon their village, monstrous and relentless, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. Homes were reduced to rubble, and lives were shattered in an instant. Mingu had watched in horror as they tore through their home, his daughter's screams echoing in his ears. The sound of her fear was something he would never forget. He had fought with everything he had, but he was no match for their brutal strength. His efforts, though valiant, were in vain. He could only watch, helpless, as they dragged her away, his pleas for mercy drowned out by their guttural roars. The sight of her being taken from him was a nightmare come to life. The memory was a fresh wound, reopening with each word, each choked sob. It was a pain that never truly healed, a scar that would forever mark his soul.
I had to survive. I had to keep going, no matter the cost. I had to find a way to bring her back. Every step I took, every breath I drew, was for her.
It was this unwavering hope, this burning desire to see her again, this desperate need for redemption that had kept him alive. It was the only thing that gave him strength. He had endured countless hardships, surviving in the harshest of conditions, driven by the hope that he might one day hold her in his arms again. He had sought refuge in this cave, his body ravaged by hunger and thirst, his spirit unbroken despite the odds. His mind haunted by the memory of his daughter's terrified face, he clung to the belief that he could save her, that he could make things right. Mingu's voice dropped to a whisper as he spoke of the green beings, his words laced with a chilling fear. His eyes darted around the room, as if expecting one of them to appear at any moment. They weren't human, he explained, his gaze distant, lost in the throes of a horrifying memory. The terror in his voice was palpable, each word a testament to the horrors he had witnessed. They were creatures of nightmare, driven by an insatiable hunger. Their presence turned the forest into a realm of fear, where every shadow seemed to hide a lurking threat. He spoke of their unnatural strength, their grotesque appearance, and the unsettling emptiness in their eyes. These beings were not just predators, they were the embodiment of despair and darkness.
They offered me a choice, my life, for hers. The weight of that decision still hangs heavy on my soul.
He looked up at Do-hyuk, his eyes filled with a pain that transcended words. It was a look that spoke of a heart torn apart by an impossible decision. He had been given a chance, a twisted, agonizing choice, the kind of choice that no one should ever have to make. Yet there he was, standing at the crossroads of life and death. His life, his daughter's life. The stakes couldn't have been higher, and the consequences of his decision would echo through the rest of his days. The memory of that moment, the weight of that decision, was etched into the lines on his face, a permanent reminder of the price of survival. Each wrinkle told a story of regret and sorrow. He had chosen to live, a decision that had haunted him ever since. Every waking moment was a reminder of the sacrifice he had made and the life he had taken in exchange for his own. It was a choice born of desperation, fueled by a flicker of hope that he could find a way to save her, to right the wrong he had committed. That hope was the only thing that kept him going, but deep down he knew the truth. The reality of his decision was a burden he would carry forever. He was alive, a testament to his own guilt, a living reminder of his daughter's sacrifice. Each day was a struggle to find meaning in his survival, to reconcile with the choices he had made.